I am a daughter of a hemophiliac. I am a mother of a hemophiliac, a grandmother and a great-grandmother of a hemophiliac.
Have you ever lost anyone to hemophilia?
Yes, I have. First must start with my dad. My second loss is my nephew. A loving, quiet child that just lived life. He lived life at its best.
What's happening here?
I'm taking my prophy regimen. I do this twice a week, about 3,800 units. When I started out, we had these big old syringes, and I used to have to mix about 4 or 5 bottles just to get what I'm taking now.
So, when did you comprehend that you were different?
That's funny. Probably playing varsity basketball. My coach, he loved what I brought to the table when I was open and honest with him. And there was a product out called DDAVP. It was a nasal spray, and he would give me the keys to the team room so that I could go kind of shoot up or dope up. It had like a Cinderella effect, so my blood would clot for probably about 4 or 5 hours, and I would run into the locker room. I would take my nasal spray. So that was an instant. Another instant, I guess, would be when I realized that the things that I did want to do physically was kind of it had an expiration date. It was a Cinderella effect. So I began to have a lot of arthritis in my bones. One morning I woke up and I couldn't straighten my elbow out. And so that was just years of treating and bleeding and not treating appropriately, or icing. A lot of things my nurses used to tell me I was hard-headed. And I had to try a lot of stuff. I got into fights. I was just your average typical boy. But I guess those were times that I knew that I was different, and that if I wanted to be able to do things on an elite level, I had to be mindful of my hemophilia.
So this is the needle.
Okay.
It's kind of at a curve.
It's a port needle.
It's called a port needle. So
Okay.
it's kind of a curve so it can get into it. And the line is prepped. We use a little bit extra long line just because movement. It's kind of hard to hold it, and this is full of saline.
Okay.
So the line is prepped with saline. And we rotate. My port is a double port, so it has the
You can
two.
see the scar tissue first.
So that was 2
Okay.
days ago. The other one.
We went to the inside last time. This time we'll go to the outside.
So he feels around, finds the target pads. I joke around saying I'm going to get a tattoo with a target, which I don't think the doctors would really like.
Yeah, you really give them.
You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And at the time he sticks in, I always try to take a big deep breath,
Good draw.
and because it is, I admit it's painful. For years we tried to put the cream of numbing cream, did all that, lidocaine, but there's just so much scar tissue. It's going to hurt no matter what. You just kind of have to suck it up. Pretty much at birth I was pretty bruised and normal. They were looking for it with my dad having it. We had, each child has 50% chance of getting it at that point, so I was the lucky one and got it. So.
Now, why weren't you a carrier compared to someone who contracted it from your father?
Von Willebrand's is a little different. They pretty much either you have it or you don't. Each child's a 50% chance. So, but if I would have ever had children, they would have had a chance. So I could have passed it on to any future. My sister, which they believe that she did not have a bleeding disorder. She now has been diagnosed with a platelet disorder. But that's a little different. But
what would you think, just dealing with hemophilia and von Willebrand's and having a blood disorder, in your own perspective, what do you think a stereotype would be?
Usually that they're always boys. that women could not have any bleeding disorder. A lot of times people think, from the past, hemophilia means AIDS, HIV, that a lot of people from the 80s, and that you can't do anything, that you're pretty much must be in a bubble, stay at home.
Explain for the audience what something like a period or something that a young female will go through. What is that like for a person with hemophilia or a blood disorder?
Impossible. First period was 40 days straight, and they ended up being in the hospital for multiple weeks.
Wow.
And some people don't even find out that they have a bleeding disorder until that time, because you just don't know.
And so that had to be hard.
Yeah.
What about, is there a possibility, children? Do you have any children?
Nope. I had to have a hysterectomy when I was 22 because of the bleeding got too severe. I was in intensive care multiple times, and they couldn't. We waited as long as we could, but the bleeding got out of control.
I found strength in beginning to write my book. I used all them as major players. I can only say it didn't make it any easier. It doesn't make it easy for me to write this book as well. I don't know. I can never forget him, but I can always have something to remember him by. My nephew was a brilliant light. He would give you his last. He would be cold tomorrow, but he would give you his coat today. And I guess he was probably saying, well, that's if I live to see tomorrow. Because it comes down to, we don't go into remission. We don't have days off. And as a parent of a child with hemophilia, it's the same thing. You don't have a day off. You don't have remission.
And so I think that was just the lowest point, just him dying, because so many times he came back. He fought back from his disease. He overcame. And the time he didn't, it was unbelievable. Don't let this disease get you down. Don't let this disorder get you down. Live out loud. Live boldly. Because trust me, if you open up about something, somebody's going to tell you something. So if you decide to keep it a secret, it's not worth your life. It's not worth dying for something you could have just did 5 or 10 minutes and went and enjoyed yourself. What is it that you want to do that your body and your husband and your doctors and I mean, do you? Mine is pro wrestling. I mean, I'm a pro wrestling junkie. Me and my friends.
I can see that.
Is it UFC fighting? Is it ballerina dancing? What is it that you could imagine seeing yourself doing? From time to time, or just before you go, or what is it that you always thought about?
Nothing. Just having a family.
Something called your own.
Yeah.
Some butts to whip.
Exactly.
Some shepherd pie.
So we're gonna get that. We just.
So is having a family, is it a money issue? Or?
Yeah. Right now, I mean, we're saving up to do the home study, but I mean, you're looking at $25,000 to $30,000 to adopt.
One child.
People
One
that
child.
get to have them naturally don't think about how much it actually costs.
Yeah, and
You have
so
to buy a baby.
yeah, we joke around that we have to buy the baby. So